Alright guys, next step, let's get this crank pulley bolt out. It's a 22 millimeter. Let's see if the Nano can break it loose. No problem. Sweet. So the crank pulley should easily slide off. And now we're going to do the timing cover bolts. Get the belt off of there, and then proceed with the valve covers and the head removal. Alright, here we go. That off. Oh, we missed one. Slide this guy off. Go. Now we're going to turn the engine over, line up the marks on the camshafts, and then pop this belt off. One other thing I noticed here, this tensioner, there's oil coming out of the top seal. Right there, it's all wet. So it's going to need a new timing belt tensioner as well. We'll have to order that from the dealer since we're not going to use gates. An easy way to remove your belt is to pull up here, and the tensioner will actually retract, and then put a grenade pin back in through that little hole. And now your belt is loose. We can easily remove it once we get this crank pulley back off. Let's see here. That's loose. Checking all our rollers. That one's making noise. That one sounds a little dry. That one sounds a little dry. Man, the water pump's still good, right? Come on, Subaru. So we have to get all the new rollers and timing belt tensioner. So it would be nice if Gates made the whole kit. I would have bought the Gates kit, but I just bought the timing belt from Subaru, so that's a shame. Well, let's get the valve cover off here. Alright, so valve cover should be loose. Let's see if we can. Is there anything else holding it on? There shouldn't be, just 6 bolts. Maybe a little pry bar action. Get her. Little pry bar. Oh, there we go. Very nice. Very nice. Should have put a drain pan under there, but now it's too late. So, looks clean. Surprisingly. Man, that looks mint. So, I guess they kept up on their oil changes, huh? Alright, stripping down all the way. Ready to get these head bolts out. So we got our EGR tube off, oil dipstick tube, little pinch bolt there. Got the cam gear off with the Nano 17mm. this oil VVT solenoid for bolts there, and the inner plastic cover for the timing belt. So now we are ready to actually remove the main head bolts. Here they are. They're 14 millimeter 12 point. And there's actually a specific sequence to remove them. So let's do that with a breaker bar. So here's our loosening sequence, courtesy of AllData. We'll start with the upper left bolt, A, B, C, D, E, F. Alright, here we go. Here's A. Oh man, tight. B is lower right corner. Okay, so I removed that short adapter. It seems to do the trick. Oh man, that's B. So we'll do a quarter turn for the first go around. Oh my gosh. C. D is lower front. Right here. Okay. E, middle, upper. Okay. Oh my God. Jeez. F, lower middle bolt. So DIYers, if you're getting into this project, again, be prepared to take your heads to a good machine shop. You're probably gonna buy more parts than you initially planned for. Other than that, it's not a bad job, right? There's A. Let's see if we can get B. They are pretty long, so make sure your ratchet doesn't bash into the frame right here. So I have a piece of cardboard with some paper towels ready to set the head down. So final bolts, I'm going to remove and hold the head right here. First we'll remove this one. So out. That guy. Keep in mind there are a couple dowels in here. So support the head, you can grab it whichever way you please. See that guy. It out. Now just slowly and carefully lift it out of here. Our AC hose is in the way just a little bit. Let's see. Careful. Okay. Sweet. Oh. That's it. I can see our pistons. See a little coolant in there. We'll blow those out, clean them out. So that's how you remove the head. Do the same on the passenger side. Next up, we'll be taking them to a machine shop. So if you're going to let your car sit for a while, for example, if you're taking your heads to a machine shop, if you need to order more parts, spray the cylinder bores down with WD-40. So you don't want any moisture or rust starting to form in there, or else your pistons are going to look like this. Ooh, nice. Guess what happened to this Subaru block? Right there, you can see a crack. Overheating. That caused the misfire. So, don't let that happen. Alright, so it's time to tear down the head, take the rocker shafts off, the camshaft, and send these guys to a machine shop. And I've never played around with these new style variable valve lift heads before, so let's take a quick peek how they work and how to take them apart. So first thing, make sure you have a nice soft surface to work on, cardboard, paper towels. You don't want to damage the surface of the head. So here's the rocker arm, rocker shaft assembly. So let's turn this cam over and see how this thing works. So you can see these two, this side's the exhaust, this side's the intake. So you can see those exhaust valves opening, closing. Next, we have this set of exhaust valves that open and close. Now here's the fun part, the intakes. So from just looking at this thing, and get a better angle. Let's see. Alright. So, two intake valves, right? This one, it just rides on the cam. It's not variable lift. This one, on the other hand, has this gizmo assembly where oil pressure looks like comes from our oil passages here, up through here on this rod, and comes down to these intake valves right here. You can see there's a little plunger and a little rod that can actually come in and connect this arm to this other arm right here. So right now when we have no oil pressure, here, I'll turn it over. You can see this valve is opening, this one's staying still. But this arm follows this arm right here. So when these two are disconnected, this valve barely opens. It does open a little bit. Let's see. Okay, back to the exhausts. It's a little tough to turn over by hand. Let's focus on the intakes again. So see, that's full open. Well, this guy right here opens just a little bit. You see the arm does move slightly. So basically we have to get these rocker shafts off. 4 bolts for the exhaust, that's straightforward. Now for the intake side, you see there's this big spring right here. And that spring always puts tension on this, primary arm, I guess, and keeps it pressured against the camshaft. So if we just pop this off, this spring is going to force this little arm down, and it'll be hard to reinstall. So a tip that I got from Eric O at South Main Auto is to relieve tension on this spring, and I think this is in factory service data too, by moving this arm, kind of moving it up and then off of this little tab right here. See that tab? So you pop it off and it relieves the spring tension. There's a little stop right here, and that should facilitate removal of the rocker arm shafts. So first thing you want to do is find a kind of a neutral spot for the cam where there's no pressure on any of the valves. But you can see this guy, that spring is keeping tension on this little arm right here. So let's release these springs right now. So if you don't have a special Subaru tool, you can just put a little tiny socket. This one is, I don't know, 4mm right on that nib, and now we can manually preload the spring and take it off of this little stopper, and then slowly release it like that. And that's it. That's not going anywhere. Our spring is fully released. You can see this. Now this rod has no tension on it. So let's do the same for the other side. And nice and easy. Sweet. So that arm is also nice and loose. Cool. Now let's buzz these rocker shafts off. So we'll start with the intake. Those are a little higher up. Start with the outer bolts. Just give them a little, start loosening them. Alright. Okay, those seem loose. Now we should be able to just lift this whole assembly off of there. See that? And we'll set it to the side. Now I have this box ready here with some paper towels, and I've labeled drive side, passenger side, and that's the front of the box. So we're just going to set them like they are in the head. Let's get the exhaust off. Alright, fine control with the nano. And this guy should also come right out. We'll set that aside. Awesome. Alright. What's that piece of crap? Now we're ready to remove this camshaft. So the way the camshaft is held in, there's actually this big plate that needs to be separated from the rest of the head, and it's held down by these Torx bolts all the way around. A couple hex bolts, I guess, a couple 10mm. So just keep track of those. We'll pop this whole assembly off, and it should come off with the camshaft. So the sockets you're going to need: Torx T40 for these corner ones, a 5mm hex, and a 10mm for these guys right here. So let's get to it. Alright, first we'll go for these 10mm. They're out. Now let's go for the 5s. Nice and easy. Get a little oil spray from the bolts. think that is all of our hex bolts. Now we just have to do the Torx. Alright, Torx. One. No problem there. Okay. Oh, that was tight. Actually, a little misinformation there. You can see the regular Torx bit, this T40, was kind of wobbling around in that hole. I'm like, it doesn't really feel like the right socket. You actually need a Torx plus a TP40, and that fits nice and snug. So in our master Torx kit here, we have the standard Torx, and then you have the Torx plus. That's the one you need. So keep that in mind. We don't want to harm these bolts. So let's try this guy. Much better. There's that, and we got two more here. Sweet. That should be all of them. Now we're ready to pry this whole top half off, so get a small pry bar and just kind of go around. Just break the seal. They give you little pry points. Just like right there. So just twist. I'll go all the way around. Alright. Awesome. Sweet. I don't know if it's being held down by dowels, but with a little gentle wiggling, this thing should pop right out. Ah, nice. That's it. You see there's a bead of sealant going all the way around. Cool. Put that on our paper towel. And here is our prize. These seals you can just pop out. Alright, just a little stuck. Put that over here. Alright, sweet. We just have to take the spark plugs out and this thing is ready to go to the machine shop. And check this out. Remember that migrated valve guide? You can actually see the oil seal in here is obviously detached from the valve guide, which has moved down through the head and is just kind of floating here doing absolutely nothing. So there's definitely oil getting burned on this exhaust valve. You see, you just kind of move it up. Yeah, it's cool. There it is. So these guys are on there. Yep, there she is. Whole reason for all this mess. Oh, Subaru, never a dull moment.